Qatar Airways Monaco Grand Prix. And thanks to Qatar Airways, we show you where we are racing at. It is Monte Carlo, Monaco, round 8 here of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship. Round 8, 3.337 kilometres, 2.074 miles, top speed of 297.4 kilometres an hour, 42 metres in elevation, 78 laps, and the race lap record, 1 minute 12.0. The race lap record around this circuit. There are 3 different compounds of tyres, and we have the softest rubber that we could possibly bring you. It is the C6 rubber. It is the soft tyre. C4, C5 is the hard and medium tyre. C4 is the hard tyre. C5 is the medium tyre. It is now time for practice 2 around Monaco. Here the FIA Formula 1 World Championship races around Monte Carlo here this weekend. This one should be quite a good weekend because it is the home race for Charles Leclerc. It could possibly score Ferrari some pretty big points. Weather conditions here at Monaco, it is 23 degrees of a track temperature of 105 degrees Fahrenheit, 35% in terms of humidity, and 2.5 kilometers northwesterly winds, which might play a bit of an effect this session in terms of the way that the cars run around here. But Ferrari fans absolutely everywhere, and I think there's a few more Charles Leclerc fans than what there are Ferrari fans, but you are definitely close enough to it here. But the green light will go green at the end of the pit lane here, and we will go racing in just a few. We will go practice mode in just a few moments time. Now, of course, this session is going to be a bit less. This session is going to be a bit more indicative for everybody out there because the track will be a little bit better here with Formula 2 and Porsches being run out there before FP2. So this session should be a little bit better here. But the green light is about to go green at the end of the pit lane, and we will get some racing laps in here, and we'll get a good indication as to where we are here in this session. That is Christian Horner sitting up at, seems above, yeah, that is above the pit area. That is above the pit area there. Max Verstappen, at the moment, he's sitting in third in the 2025 Drivers' Championship, sitting in 31. Won Imola last time out. He was actually quite quick at Imola, and he showed that by gapping Oscar Piastri, by nearly 10 seconds. 10 seconds to the cars behind. So it was quite a good victory there for Max and for the Red Bull crew. And that was followed by Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who were close in behind. Well, wasn't actually close to behind. It was nearly 10 seconds that margin back. So still a bit of time to find there for Max Verstappen, but still a bit of time to find for Oscar Piastri and Norris. But they're definitely there. Max Verstappen is there in terms of the championship fight. So in terms of the Drivers' Championship, it is Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, the top 3, and then just in behind are a few Ferraris and a few Mercedes. But the Ferraris, they could be in a very good position this weekend, being the fact that it is Leclerc's home ground, and normally when that happens, it's a good sign that they're on for a pretty good weekend. Ferrari, and then especially for Leclerc as well. But the green light is about to come on here at the end of the pit lane. We'll get 60 minutes of free practice 2 underway. Yeah, and there you go. The green light is about to come on. It is now on at the end of the pit lane. It's time to go practice. Okay, sorry about that. My mic was playing up. I could hear a weird echoing sound. So the kick helpers make their way out as well, so just like most of the field has here. But yeah, Leclerc very quick in FP1, and he showed that with the fastest time of the session. It was like a minute 12. It was a minute 11. So, and the sun has also come. The sun has come down here, so you make the session a little bit faster here. So we might see a few fast lap times in this session. From what I've seen here, 90% of drivers have gone out on the hard or medium compound tyre in this one, Verstappen.
This up with a visor, this is the same as the ladies in a V1. Yeah, yes it is, Max.
So Max is asking there on the radio, is this the same visor that he used in FP1? Now, the reason why I asked that is because if you change visors through sessions, it can really make an effect on the way you see things here, because you go out with one visor and then next session you go out with the other and you're like, oh god, it feels weird, it doesn't feel right, and that normally can be the way that things can work around here. So 58.5 minutes to go in this session. This is going to be important here, because it's going to give some people some good ideas as to how race runs are going to work around here. So this session is going to be a lot about race runs. Next session, it's going to be our qualifying simulations, which of course I'll be streaming from 8:30 tomorrow morning. Oliver Behrman, he's on a lap at the moment. Of course, we saw a 20.6 in the last session as the fastest first sector, and then a 50, I think it was a 53.000. So, it might have been a 50.0, either one of those, but I know it's 3 seconds in between, but it was somewhere close to that. Somewhere close to that time. Here, it's the marshals. Oh, God, I would, to be honest, where the marshals are standing right now, through the chicane, I wouldn't be the person to stand right there. I'd probably ask to be somewhere else. Lewis Hamilton out there at the moment, medium tyres. He's currently purple the first and second sector. He's definitely improving as he goes through turn 18 and turn 19, the final two corners. Purple. What's this lap going to be? For Max Verstappen, it's not going to be the fastest. It's a 1:14.962 from Lewis Hamilton, who's just cut turn 1 and makes his way up the hill now. Riccardo Radini, race engineer for Lewis Hamilton. It's always important to have that bond between driver and engineer, because if you don't have that bond, it normally doesn't end well. Lando Norris, at the moment, he's out there on the medium compound tyres. Most drivers will have used their soft compound tyres in FP1. Probably getting a feel for it. The only person that hasn't is Oliver Behrman. Lando Norris. Now, of course, in FP1, I was seeing a lot of drivers do their fastest laps on the medium compound tyres, so they might have a bit more life than what they did in Imola. And because this circuit's not so much a degradation circuit, you might get a few more laps out of the soft compound tyres, maybe 1 or 2 more laps. I don't reckon it'll be 2 laps. I reckon it'll be probably 1 lap, if that. And nice. At the moment, he's on a lap. He's up to the first sector, but he's just a little bit off Liam Lawson. Now he's not. He's about 6/10 up. He's about 4/10 up on Liam Lawson on this lap. So the track is improving. Alexander Albon just gone to the top, 1:13.961. Verstappen also improving. As nice through the final few corners and over the line, nearly 7/10, 1:13.250 from Lando Norris. Max Verstappen improving on this lap. Purple first sector. What's this second sector going to be like here as he runs through the chicane? Oscar Piastri goes to the top now, 1:13.068. Verstappen improving to the first sector. Purple at the moment, so people using the medium tyres, seeing if it's worth it to use them in qualifying, maybe, when it becomes all important. Now, traffic was a big play in FP1 when we saw Leclerc and Stroll come together. Didn't end up well. 12.9 that lap from Verstappen, but Lance Stroll and Leclerc came together. Stroll lost that whole entire session, so Stroll practically around about 50 minutes behind in terms of track running, so a little bit behind there. This is Liam Lawson. You see, of course, 2 mandatory pit stops for the Monaco Grand Prix. 2 mandatory pit stops are going to be required this year for Verstappen. Max Verstappen asking to fix his upshifts. I probably need to have my mute button at hand here. As Isaac Cadro is on a lap at the moment. He's down in P20. He's not done a really indicative lap time. 0.4 up on his personal best. So it's not too bad. He's currently down in P20. He hasn't actually set a time yet. So he's about 0.4 of a second off pace for Max Verstappen. So this is going to be a bad lap here from Isaac Cadro if he can stitch it together. He runs through the tunnel. Turn 9, turn 10. Turn 10 is about to approach him at a fast rate of knots. Got to be careful you don't actually hit that left-hand side curb. Oh, big crash! Isaac Cadro's in the fence. Oh, big crash from Isaac Cadro. So we were just on board there. Now that lap, red flag. There you go, red flag from Isaac Cadro. Now, that's big there from Isaac Cadro, who's hit the wall at a rate of knots. Now, he's actually pushed. Oh, okay, so there's the witness mark on the wall down there. So that's a problem. That is going to be a problem. And Hadron acceptably not happy with that. Red flag in this session.
Yes.
Saying they should try and bring it back. There, Isaac Cadro. Definitely try and bring it back, but well, that can't be able to move. Now, that's going to probably knock him out for the rest of the session if damage is actually substantial enough. There, but red flag here in this session. It's 2 in a row now in terms of red flags that we've had, but this one is a genuine crash, and that is a big moment for Isaac Cadro. He's doing the highway speed around here, 35 kilometers an hour. So he's not going at a fast rate of knots. Especially through this corner, it's around about 180 kilometers an hour through here.
To not touch the wall, but the apex ones are always the worst because you bounce off it really hard. Just missed it with the front left. Didn't miss it with the rear. I think he was a bit unsettled coming in because watching him when we had the onboard camera, or the front-facing camera, he was on the curb on the right-hand side, which you don't want to be really. And I think it's upset the car a little bit on turn, and he's just misjudged it a bit. I was just about to say that. Those marshals there did not move a muscle when Isaac Cadro hit the barrier. Bravo.
Wow. Ice in their veins. That's impressive. Yeah, more impressive than his start control stop hitting the other barrier.
Yeah, good point. Ted, down to you.
Well, Cadro comes in, and because the inside of the rim actually still had the tyre on, it wasn't carving out a little channel in the tarmac. So there wasn't much damage to the road, the Automobile Club of Monaco will be happy about. And actually looking at it, doesn't seem to be that much damage to the suspension. Obviously they'll have to take it apart, and that will take 10, 15, 20 minutes. But I don't think that will be session over. I will be... Do you know what? I'd say 60-40. I think you might get away with that, but it's a very big 40. That doesn't make any sense, does it, Crofty?
Definitely doesn't make any sense. 60. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. As the marshals continue to clean up down there the chicane, but there's double wave yellows. Got to give them credit there but those marshals not moving an inch as they hit as Isaac Cadro hit the barrier quite substantially. But we go back to green flag here. But there are double waved yellows down there at the chicane. Max Verstappen, fastest time overall, moment 112.922. There, he's done that on the medium compound tyre, so it's not a bad lap there from Max Verstappen, who has done the fastest time overall. And track is green. We're going to go back to green flag racing here and Leclerc currently sitting in P3, who topped FP1, and he did it by a comfortable 0.3 of a second over Oscar Piastri. He's sitting in P2 at the moment in this session. What I gained out of FP1 is and it immediately showed it was Leclerc who was quickest by probably a margin, a good chunk. Here, 12 minutes gone after red flag, thanks to Isaac Hadjar, who's now back in the pit lane. This is Yuki Tsunoda's 95th Grand Prix this weekend, becoming the most experienced Japanese driver in Grand Prix history. Good number to have against you. Is the most experienced Japanese F1 driver. Stood up at Isaac Hadjar here, and he's just clobbered the wall on the left-hand side. He just pipped that curb. Now, he was actually lucky not to go into the barrier on the right-hand side down there. So, he's just pipped the barrier, and his marshals did not move an inch. And probably the wall maybe moved an inch. The wall moved faster than what the marshals did. Give him credit for that one, but Hadjar continuing just to, there on the replay, just drive slowly back to the pits. See there the stranded Isaac Hadjar car now. Leclerc nearly actually ran into the back of the Alpine as he was trying to pass Isaac Hadjar, and the Alpine sitting in front of him tried to pass him. Nearly ended up what happened in FP1 there, but it didn't end up happening. Beautiful sights of Monaco here this weekend. It is a very, very good day to be racing around Monaco and cheering on Ferrari fans. Cheering on for probably what is Leclerc or maybe Ferrari. Either one. Free practice 2 back on the way for this afternoon. Final practice session on Friday, and then of course Saturday is FP3 and then qualifying, followed by the race on Sunday. So getting closer and closer to that big point of the weekend where you qualify and you see where you actually are going to end up. So we're about 15 minutes into this session, and we've got 46 minutes to go. Leclerc has done his personal best on hard tyres, 1:13.162, which I reckon you'll get probably about 40, I'm going to say maybe 35 laps out of the hard tyres. Nobody hasn't really done quick laps.
Definitely something wrong with their steers. Like the quality of that was really bad.
I think he's a lot.
So Max Verstappen there worried about the tear off on his helmet, so that's definitely a bit of a problem there, but cars head back out onto the circuit. As we take a look here at the Williams, or I think that is Carlos Sainz, has finished on the podium in Monaco more times than any other circuit in his F1 career. So Carlos Sainz, that's a really good stat. And he hasn't done that in Williams. He's done that in Ferrari when he was there last year. So not a bad stat to have. But Carlos Sainz, he's up and on a lap at the moment. He's in P14, and he's on to improve from that position now. Williams have been really strong in practice, and just haven't been able to show their qualifying or race pace around here, which is quite unfortunate because they would probably be P5, P6 every race, to be honest, if they could show their pace. And they definitely do have it, because Alex Albon inside the top 10, and Carlos Sainz, who hasn't actually done an individual lap, is down in P14, the soft compound tyre, which expect him to probably improve in this session. Isaac Hadjar getting the rear side of that car fixed. Now I'm going to guess there's maybe a little bit of suspension damage, maybe a bit of axle damage on that car as Alonso heads through to the back and makes his way into the hairpin. Alonso The personal best first sector, P8 at the moment in this session. As he climbs up to around about 260 kilometers an hour before breaking into the chicane, where we saw Isaac Hadjar's turn 11, where we saw him, actually turn 10, where we saw Isaac Hadjar have a bit of a bump with the wall. Alonso at the moment, he's up on his lap time. He's personal best first sector, purple second sector, 34.525 from Fernando Alonso, followed by that second sector. So he's fastest at the moment. Where's this going to put him? He's P8 at the moment. Is this going to put him to the top? P4 from Fernando Alonso, 13.199. Lando Norris, meanwhile, personal best first sector, personal best second sector. Expect some improvement here. Oscar Piastri also improving on the medium tyres. Everybody except Carlos Sainz and Ollie Behrman on the medium and the hard tyres. Nice up into P2. Carlos Sainz and Behrman on the soft tyres. So, not using their soft rubber from FP1. Piastri P3 at the moment. Personal best purple. And purple in the last sector for Piastri goes to the top 12.54. Russell improving in the first sector. He's purple. Propelled 119.0, so that's a really quick first sector. We saw a 53 flat in the first session. In the second sector, Russell improving. Meanwhile, his teammate purple to the first sector. Timing screens are lighting up. So we'll see what the second sector is like for Antonelli. Russell running through now the final few corners. And it's P2 for Russell. He's done a 12.6. Kimi Antonelli running through the chicane now. This is a really smooth lap from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He didn't show his pace in FP1. Maybe saving it for FP2, seeing what he can do then. But he's up at the moment, and he's up really quite nicely. He's up by nearly 2/10 on Oscar Piastri. This is going to put him definitely to the top, or somewhere close to it. He's currently 2/10 faster than Oscar Piastri. Meanwhile, Leclerc, he's nearly 3/10 faster than Antonelli to the first sector. This lap P2 for Andrea Kimi Antonelli lost about half a tenth in that final sector. He's done a 12.6. Sorry, yes, a 12.5. Charles Leclerc running through into the back and run that nicely, and he's nearly 8/10 up. He's nearly 6/10 up on Oscar Piastri on this lap. Leclerc, this is a really good time. 34.2 to the second sector for Charles Leclerc. What's this lap going to be? It's magenta. Is this going to put him to the top on the hard compact tyre? It is. It's a 12.1 by nearly 0.4 of a second over Oscar Piastri. Really? Oh! Look, that is the McLaren in the fence. And in the fence hard. The McLaren in the fence of Oscar Piastri is the Drivers' World Champion. Red flag. Oscar Piastri in the fence and in the fence hard. And there's a big mark on that medium tyre. Wow. Oscar Piastri in the fence with no front wing. Red flag to this session. Oscar Piastri, the Drivers' World Champion, in the fence at turn 1 at a hard rate of knots. Tom Stallard watching on there, the race engineer of Oscar Piastri. We were watching Leclerc finish his lap, and in the end, Oscar Piastri in the fence.
Oscar, you okay?
Yes. Working back very carefully.
There are Monaco accidents, and that is a fairly atypical one, isn't it?
It's such a difficult one because at one moment in time you have to decide, do I go left down the runoff area or can I make it? And it was just that little bit too late. He was thinking about going left, but he was going in too hot.
Had he continued to go left, Carl would have spun round.
Yeah, he would have. The point that he locked up at that stage, you're then sliding. You haven't got steering anymore. You're just steering one way. So, for him to have come off the brake, he would have just had an impact at a higher speed and taken off a corner probably. So,
It would have been brave to have turned left and lifted
yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
I think there was a slight twitch to the left, but it made no difference in the tyres whatsoever. Red flag here though, because of Oscar Piastri's crash, second one of the session. Isaac Hadjar was the first. There'll be a few minutes for the marshals to now clear things up again. Charles Leclerc fastest.
Charles Leclerc fastest in this session here. A really important one as Oscar Piastri makes his way back to the pit lane. FP2 continues in a few moments' time. FP2 continues here with about 35 minutes to go, and Oscar Piastri here with that red flag clearing up within those few moments there, within actually a couple minutes. But cars now coming to the end of the pit lane and people putting on new rubber here after testing the medium tyres, seeing if they're a good qualifying tyre, and they go again. Kimi Antonelli, only 2 Italians have ever won the Monaco Grand Prix in the championships era. So, only 2 Italians ever to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Which makes it an interesting stat here, because Kimi Antonelli, a bit of a chance this weekend to try and take that win. And if he can do that, he will be one of few Italians that have won the Monaco Grand Prix, which won't be a bad stat to have against your name. Kimi Antonelli, though, he's formed 6th, 11th, 4th on a few occasions. So that's not a bad stat to have. Kimi Antonelli, though, starting his soft tyre run and makes his way up to turn 1. We just saw Oscar Piastri crash there. So we've seen the best of the best have a moment. Down there we saw Leclerc at the start of that P1 have a moment. Kimi Antonelli, though, he's improving. He's not actually improving at the moment. We haven't seen his first sector. We'll see what this sector's like, though. 18 8.36, plays an 18.9. So plays an 8, sorry, yes, so a 19.0 there for Kimi Antonelli. He's just backed off on that lap, so we will not see that lap. And you continue there from Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who sadly had a retirement at Imola. Wasn't able to make it there, but this is why he actually backed off here. So he's come through before we hit the hairpin, final corner. Big snap from Kimi Antonelli. I didn't actually see that from the up above. I didn't see the snap from Kimi Antonelli. Toto Wolff watching on and knowing that it is Monaco, so you do definitely make mistakes around here. Alonso improving. Personal best first sector. See what this second sector is like in about 30 seconds time. Through the hairpin, turn 7. Turn 8, and then there you go. So Behrman incident, red flag infringement noted. Now, speaking of red flag infringements, we saw Ollie Behrman in Imola qualifying had a red flag infringement. He practically finished the lap as the red flag came out. Not sure that lap didn't actually end up getting complete, so that wasn't actually counted. So Ollie Behrman now again under investigation. Alonso improving on this lap. His personal best first sector compared to his purple second sector. That's looking very, very shiny at the moment. He's looking very shiny on that purple second sector and looking to actually improve as he has a bit of a slide coming out of the final corner, but it's perfectly fine because he'll go to the top at this point. He does a 12.087 from Fernando Alonso. Leclerc, not so much improving. He's about 0.1 off Alonso. Hamilton, his teammate, is improving though. Purple first sector. Most drivers now starting their soft runs. Leclerc, the only person not on the soft compound tyres at the moment. He's on the hard compound tyres. This lap, not good enough. But he does improve. He's improved by 5 thousandths. Hamilton improving. Purple first sector, purple second sector. Improving to this point onwards. We'll see what this third sector is like. It's actually at this point on for an improvement. As he runs through the final few corners. Russell improving, and so is Norris. Hamilton, where does he go on this lap? To the top. He does a 12.025. He lost about 3/10 in that final sector though, but he was able to improve. Russell P4. He's about 3/10 off the paces. He done a 12.3. Russell P5. Norris P5. He does a 12.3 as well. So the top 10 cars separated by less than a second. So the margins are starting to drop, and that last top 10 is Max Verstappen. Just showing how tight it is. Isaac Hadjar P15. Just bumped up. Ollie Behrman, good lap. Leclerc, they're saying there's some debris in the braking zone to turn 10, so that's a problem there. But Behrman, a good lap. That's P6 from Ollie Behrman. This is Pierre Gasly. He's come out of the pit lane, and that is Isaac Hadjar in front. And then the Aston Martin, who's just moved over. The Aston Martin almost put me in the wall, which, good complaint from an F1 driver there. Saying he almost put me in the wall. Good way to explain it. Very much here with 30 minutes to go in this one. Minutes to go in this session here as Carlos Sainz starts his lap now and runs to turn 1 and hits the apex quite nicely. Gets on the power early and makes his run up to turn 2, turn 3. Turn 2 and turn 3 technically don't matter. It's the run to turn 4 and turn 5, which in the race will be quite important. There's a bump there which you have to dodge. P14 at the moment for Carlos Sainz, and I've said this so far all weekend. If Williams could show their practice pace in the race, they would be fighting for top 5s. They just can't seem to turn that practice pace into race pace, which is a bit of a problem for Carlos Sainz and for Alex Albon. Nico Hulkenberg though, P4. Beautiful lap in the kick Sauber. There, he's done on the soft compound tyres. Fernando Alonso's just gone to the top. He's done a 1:11.89. This lap, if it stays the way it is, it will be... Oh, so Carlos, it's just backed off there. So, he's just gone 4.8 seconds off the pace as well. So, I was about to say, if Carlos kept on with this lap, it will put him about P4 at this point in time. Lewis Hamilton now, he's taking his gloves off. He's always now putting them back on. Yeah, but he owns the first sector at the moment. He's on the medium tyres. He's done the lap on the medium tyres. He's done an 11... He's done 11.9. But Fernando Alonso, he was quick in FP1, but now FP2 he's just starting to shine a little bit more. Now, for those people, I've actually missed a few chat messages. Hello to Soccer Callum as well. Hello to you. Hello, hello. You are one of my moderators as well. Hello, hello. Esteban Ocon is he's run through the chicane and just caught up to the Red Bull at the wrong time. That is Ocon.
Well,
Ocon there saying, what is he doing? So deservedly. Because, bit of a tap there for the hats of Ollie Behrman. The wall as he's come through the bottom few corners. Bit of a tap with the wall there, but Leclerc improving to the first sector. It's purple at the moment. It's looking quick at the moment for Charles Leclerc. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz has popped up at P4. So he backed off that lap that I was speaking about, and he's just improved. Leclerc, he's home ground at the moment. He's improving by nearly half a second over Fernando Alonso. This lap is looking shiny from Leclerc, and McLaren can't seem to match it. And P5 and P... Oh, I can't even find nice. He's P8 at the moment. P5 and P8. Leclerc goes to the top by nearly half a second. 1:11.414. Which is 2/10 off the pace of what we saw in FP1. And there's still 26 minutes to go. Nice. He's on to go somewhere up the top there. Max Verstappen at the moment. He's P14. He hasn't actually done a good lap. Nice. What's his lap going to be? P8. So he stays where he is. That's nearly half a second there from the Ferraris that they've pulled out of those their lap times there. So that's a really good lap. And exactly what they needed. It's P3. It's P3 for Hamilton, P1 for Leclerc. And Lewis Hamilton has not completed a lap in the top 3 at Monaco since winning the race in 2019. So that's a stat. That might just be broken this weekend. Of course, he did that back in 2019. That stat was broken. So, it was nearly 6 years ago. As Lewis Hamilton runs up to turn 1 and starts his lap. Let's see what the commentators have to say up at Sky Race Control. Let's see what the commentators have to say in the Sky commentary booth.
Casino Square, carrying a lot of speed through there, and it feels even quicker than this in the car. It's just insanely quick. Little front lock up there on the right, that's pretty normal. There he's backed off.
is it bumpier going into Casino Square because that's where the resurfacing stops and then the old surface comes through?
Yeah, and also these cars, you have to run them low, don't you, for the ground effect, so it's lower than previous years. But no, I don't think his tyres were in the window. They weren't ready for a push lap then. And in Monaco and in FP2, you can do a lap on a set of soft tyres, slow down, set a lap, slow down, set a lap. You can get...
Tyres there weren't obviously up to temperature, and we'll cross back to the Sky commentary booth in a few moments' time. Ollie Behrman, though, he's improving, and so is Gabriele Bortoleto. We're now going to cross back to the Sky commentary booth because these laps are looking interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, Scotty, this is a circuit which is also about driver confidence, unlike Imola where we have the C6. And I think, to add to Jensen's point, the drivers learn with every lap and they build that confidence, because sometimes, even if the tyres lost a little bit of the peak performance, the driver confidence sort of compensates for that, and so the lap time can improve.
So is this all about confidence from Leclerc today? Is that what we're seeing? Last year's race winner from pole position. Has he come here full of confidence when he's got into the car?
Yeah, and the thing is he's getting in the lap and going bang, first lap with the tyre, which puts him in good stead, because when we get to qualifying, it won't be the third or fifth lap, especially when you get through Q2 into Q3. It's going to be bang, getting it done on lap 1, and he's got the confidence to do that, whereas other people have to find that confidence.
I don't know if hustly is a verb, but that was really hustly from Charles Leclerc. kind of manhandling it through some of those corners.
Yeah. I mean, he's nearly half a second up on Lando. And that's Lando also on the new set, as we were saying before. So, that's super impressive. I mean, even if you say engine mode, like, this isn't an engine power sensitive circuit.
Right.
Half a second is a big margin. Verstappen's struggling, nearly 8/10 off.
And look, when you look at it compared to Charles has good, strong front end. He's able to muscle the car around here. But Max isn't able to do that with Red Bull. It has too much understeer in it. And then you just...
So those laps looking there interesting, and thanks to the Sky commentary box, Sky Sports commentary box there, from David Croft and Corinne Chandok, putting the commentary together up there in the Sky Sports commentary box. Ollie Behrman running through the chicane, turn 16, and just scraping the wall. Getting ever so close. And he was speaking about confidence, and confidence is key around this circuit. Because if you can get confidence, you'll be able to put the lap together. And then we're talking about that with Leclerc. 11th, then, by the way, he improved that lap. 1:11.355 from Leclerc. Oscar Piastri, personal best first sector at the moment. And the second sector is about 0.4. He's about 2 thousandths faster than Norris, the second sector. So, it's obvious. As he runs through Casino Square and... And Piastri, what's his second OP? Over the line, P8 doesn't improve. Oscar Piastri. So doing a bit more of a race run. Alex Albon, he is not improving. 0.6 off the pace. Actually, nearly a second off the pace as he's backed out of that one through the Casino Square. So backed out of that one. Was Hamilton also improving? He's actually not improving. Sorry. So. Now he's personal best first sector, yellow second sector, he's about 3/10 off the pace, and he found another 3/10, so it's looking good. Personal best though. He's up on his own lap time at this point. This is going to put him probably P2 if he stitches it. P3, lost about a 10th or 2 in that final sector for Lewis Hamilton. Classic Hadger's just popped up at P18, so it's now important for Hadjar as he's come out of the pits to get those laps done. Exiting turn 7 for Max Verstappen. Personal best first sector. Important laps for these drivers as you heard their Sky commentary box saying about how Verstappen just struggling there for a little bit of front end. That car doesn't have enough front end around this circuit. You need that. Verstappen getting really close to the wall and flying it through the chicane of turn 14 and 13. Wow. As close as you can get to the wall. I reckon that was about a centimetre. That was insane. Max Verstappen, personal best first and second sector. He flew it. I reckon that was the fastest I've seen through that chicane. He's about 0.7 off the pace though, P6. Max Verstappen not finding the pace he's needed here in Friday practice. Russell, personal best first sector. Now, the people that haven't found pace, and I mean haven't, are the two Mercs, P12, P15, haven't set a real lap time. This lap here for Russell, 0.4 off the pace. This is going to be a bad lap. It's going to be about P3. He's lost 0.3 in that second sector. He's now 0.6 down. So, not as quick, but it's going to be about P7 or P8 here. Leclerc, he's up on his lap time. It's purple first sector. Russell P7. It's an 18.4 from Leclerc, who's absolutely flying. At this point in time, he got really close to the wall as he headed through the chicane. Into the swimming pool section. To back. He gets through there nicely. Now into the swimming pool section. The second swimming pool section. Out the other side. And everybody gets out of the way. This is looking good. Into a long right-hander. Using every bit of road. Getting oh so close to the wall on the right-hand side. Leclerc, does he improve? No. 11.366.01. So maybe starting to lose a bit of grip there from Leclerc. But with 20 minutes to go, that's not a bad lap. Replay from Fernando Alonso. This is getting right close to the wall. Too close. He had to back out of it into turn 10.
Knock on coming through there. That time I can smell
the floor of the car burning. There's a bump there, you can see where the floors of the cars are hitting the racetrack. Through there, they are running lower to the ground and a few bumps. And again, the RB with a lot of oversteer, back end sliding coming through there. Wonderful spot to watch a Formula One car and a Formula One driver pushing their luck. And there's nowhere to go if you get it wrong. Back to you.
Didn't actually hear what Alonso was saying there already, but he was complaining about something with the car. Meanwhile, the RBs are improving, and they're improving quite rapidly here. Over to the Sky commentary box.
Aston Martin, where's Isaac Hadger? Going to put his racing balls. Crosses the line now. Only 16th fastest for the man who caused the first red flag of this session. Lando Norris will cross the line. That's that lap, no improvements whatsoever. And Oscar Piastri, after his brush with the barriers, down in 12th.
Oscar Piastri there. He's popped up in P3. Here, and Lewis Hamilton has also popped up in P2. So, not a bad start for the Ferraris here. They're 1-2 at the moment. 11.35, plays an 11.34, plays an 11.37, plays an 11.37, plays an 11.37. Also remember he's 0.16 faster than Fernando Alonso. At this point, Alex Albon in P7, Kimi Antonelli P8, Verstappen P9, and then Tsunoda in P10. So the two Red Bulls slacking just a little bit at this point in time, but Liam Lawson there waving to the screen. And Oscar Piastri using every bit of road, even over with a bit of curb. A bit of curb and more for Oscar Piastri, but everybody seems to be struggling except the Ferraris. I mean, the Ferrari cars seem to be the only cars that can tackle this circuit confidently, which is probably the only circuit they can, because they want to. And Leclerc, every time he goes out there on a brand new set of tyres, it just seems to do the lap, and he does it smoothly. There's no worry about it. There's no worry that he's going to mess up the lap, because he's got the grip under him.
Where do they want to improve?
Yeah, you're spot on as frantic. I mean, it's the tracks moving forward so quickly that even the last 5 minutes you see tyres are taking over half second out of it. But the main feedback at the moment is the front tyres aren't working. That's not unique to Williams, that's across the board. So getting that working just gives you a completely different balance. So as you do lap after lap after lap, your balance changes significantly. That's their main complaint right now.
James, I know it's been a long time since you've been a strategist, but can we just try and talk a bit about Sunday for the viewers at home, because we've got this unique situation of a mandatory two-stop race. You know, what are we going to see? Are we going to see people pitting on lap 1, lap 2? Are we going to see people pitting on lap 76, 77? What do you reckon?
I don't think you'll see them pitting that late on in the race. I think this is just hazarding a little bit of a guess, but if you were towards the back end of the field, taking that early stop, exactly insert that one, may be a good thing to do, because you get a free pit stop, you can probably close back into the field. And for everyone else in the front, I think you've got to start getting a move on with things. And that's very different to how we've raced Monaco before. Very often in Monaco, we'll just manage the pace for 20 or 30 laps.
Could it be, as we see Isaac Hadjar with a bit of wrap around from the advertising hoardings on his front left, could it be a disadvantage this year to qualify kind of 5th down to 10th? Because you're less in a position to take a strategic gamble.
I'd much rather go 5th to 10th. I would be 11th to 13th playoffs.
Well, yeah, no, fair enough on that one. James, we're going to have to leave it there because Isaac Hadjar's having a real time of it. We'll speak to you again tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Speak soon.
Has he hit the barrier again there?
Rear left again.
Quite hard.
Yeah, turn 1, I'm guessing, because it was Casino Square where we first saw the barrier covering hanging off the car.
He's kind of driving that at an angle that a plane sometimes lands at. You know, trying to go straight with a bit of cycling.
The rear left suspension has had a tough time, hasn't it?
I am so stupid. I think I'm just dumb.
Instant feedback from Isaac Hadjar. I don't think he's stupid or dumb, but he's very self-critical because there's 2 mistakes that obviously he's made that are just contributing to the pain for the afternoon.
It's not the pain of a distressed gold down your left suspension, hasn't it? It's just grabbing along.
And annoyingly for him, he's just putting a good lap, just behind his teammate Lawson.
Yeah.
Up into P6.
He's coming in now. Ted, down to you.
Wasn't that what he said on a previous excursion earlier? Yeah. And this one, I think I can say 90% chance of this taking much more time and not being able to get out. It doesn't look like everything is good. Oh, he's just shaking his head in the cockpit as Isaac. He was given that a second chance by the quick work from the RB Racing Bulls mechanics. But it's cost him. I mean, how many more laps did he get? He got about half an hour on track time, didn't he?
He did that. We're just seeing a replay now of what happened in turn 1. Back end steps out, and you heard the whack. And then he picked up the cover of the advertising down there. Too close. We'll just say hit it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, he is very self-critical. I think he needs to be a bit careful of that, personally, because if he's saying it, people might start to believe it if he keeps saying it over and over again.
But you also say the timing screens never lie. 5th and 6th, Lawson and Hadger. 10th and 11th, Verstappen and Sonoda.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he's quick. He can do the lap. He's just going to keep out the wall. Yeah, it's happened a couple of times in this session. It's not been perfect, but regroup. Tomorrow he'll come out and he'll be strong. As long as he can get it past this moment in time, mentally, that's the issue, because he can just spiral.
It's interesting that Williams have tried the comparison, the medium tyre to the soft, to see if it is a better qualifying tyre. I almost feel for some further down the grid, Karun Chandler, that in Q1 the medium tyre might not be a bad idea, because at least the performance life of the tyre will go that much longer into the 18 minutes.
Correct. Yeah, and it's, as we were saying before, it's a fact that you've got to build the confidence as the session unfolds. But you've also got to be careful with timing properly, haven't you? We've seen, you know, the race directors pretty quick at throwing a red flag.
Yeah.
For example, you know, when Piastri hit the wall, I half expected it to be a VSC for that front wing to be clear, because he was on his way.
Verstappen down.
Verstappen down there.
The cars are going in reverse.
So he's trying to get it into reverse, JB, and he's struggling to the R on the dashboard.
Verstappen now.
Got it now. So yeah, it's Strass and Rosberg at Mirabeau.
Is that because that's where he used to have a house?
Somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like driving down that road.
It's where he went and had a rest. He qualified before finding reverse.
They're finding their limits, aren't they?
Yeah, and you know, we've got 6 minutes of the session to go. It's been a tough day for Red Bull, hasn't it? 10th and 11th when the junior team is further up the road. We've seen this in the past though, where we've seen the Racing Bulls run a higher engine mode on the Fridays, and then inevitably in qualifying that gets swapped around. So let's see how that unfolds. But Ferrari's a big story, even though, by the way, Oscar Piastri now, we missed that, he's only 38 thousandths behind. So Piastri has snuck in between the two Ferraris, but this is still a very impressive day for Ferrari, considering the expectations coming in.
So Piastri went later with those 2 laps that got him up a bit nearer to Charles Leclerc. So there's a bit of track evolution in that as well. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, no, and I guess it's a question for Ferrari. If your caveat around engine modes is incorrect, if that happens to be true, then it's like, okay, actually they are behind the battle perhaps.
On board with George Russell, see the chicane. It is officially the Nouvelle chicane, but it was the new chicane quite a long time ago.
So you should say a different language.
Well, Nouvelle is new, isn't it? Right?
But yeah, you just said it used to be the new chicane, now it's the Nouvelle chicane.
Well, no, it's just French and English on that, but whatever.
Neither of us understand your point here. What are you trying to say?
Trying to say, is it still the new chicane or is it just the chicane? Because it was the new chicane a long time ago when it first came in. That's what I'm saying.
That is running low, isn't it? Mercedes up there. A little bit aggressive to be spying that one, I would say.
Well, they'll certainly analyse the skid block wear, and if they can get away with it, you know, if it's not going to be illegal by the end of the race, might have found the sweet spot. You never know, but maybe it is a bit too low without Tsunoda coming down. George Russell running in there 12. Even Tsunoda, by the way, going to be investigated after the session for a yellow flag infringement as he not slowed down sufficiently when the yellow flags were out. There's been plenty of yellow and red flags, blue and white, flying in this session.
Oh, he's got something hanging off under his car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rubber. No, it's not.
What's that?
What's that? It's a blue tape snake.
So it's once again, it's part of the wraparound. You can see there that the barrier has a wraparound for the sponsors. Now, we've seen this in the past. Singapore possibly, where they've used that kind of polystyrene plastic, and the forces of the cars have just kind of ripped it off, or the cars have gone to the barrier and ripped it off. And what's wrong with just painting it on there so you're not running the risk of a load of debris, you know, and bits of polystyrene, bits of plastic coming onto the track, because this wraparound is all the way around the track, isn't it?
I guess if you paint it on, that's it.
Yeah, if you paint it on, it's not a problem.
I just moved to the future when they change sponsors.
But my theory is on this, JB, that it doesn't take much for one of those to get stuck into the engine air cycle.
Also, you can repaint it every year.
Yeah.
Well, you could. It would look pretty ugly though. Especially if you're painting white on black.
That's what
But not a white paint needed.
that's what they do elsewhere. But
A lot of tracks are like this now. Pretty much most tracks have. It's not painted. You might think it is, but it's a different type of barrier. It is. It's not.
to me, you're looking at a risk of a lot of this stuff coming off when cars scrape the barrier, and then it just kind of flies into parts that you don't want, get stuck in the front wing, ruins a race, that sort of issue.
Yes.
I mean, you could get, if you get that in the radiator or the air intake of the engine, you're done.
Yeah,
Or you break down.
You remember when we weren't allowed to throw timber off the cars?
in Singapore.
No, the whole season, there you got a pocket.
You had a little pocket in the car, you took it off and put it in your little pocket in the car.
And how many times did you do that?
Exactly. Well, the trouble is you used to stick to your hand when you went to put it in, and then you pick it out and it would fly off again. So, yeah, it wasn't the best.
It didn't last that long, did it?
It didn't last
For a year, maybe?
Yeah,
Just 1 year.
Windscreen wipers on the visor, that's what it needs.
exactly.
Then you're sorted.
So we're running high fuel now. It's amazing how different the cars look, isn't it? With high fuel on board. A lot less nimble.
Caught up into a second of gasoline. Right? I don't think we got to see as that if there's any obvious mistake, but that's a big margin.
You'd say you didn't really get to that when it was 2 seconds off. 0.8 seconds off P19. That's a surprisingly big gap.
Yeah.
It's his third consecutive year racing here in Monaco. He was an F3, then F2, then F1 for this year along the Gabriel Portoletto. 3 different series in 3 consecutive years for Franco Colapinto, who by the way is 22 years of age next Tuesday.
Happy birthday, one more.
And talking of Gabriel Portoletto, here he is.
Oh, I just kissed it there. Yeah, on the right. Here we go.
That's fine.
That could be the way to do it.
And then he took a couple of stabs at the apex. You see that? He turned in, wasn't sure, turned back in.
Notice how they don't have that wraparound on that bit of the barrier, because they know that the cars are going to
Gonna
finish
touch
that.
that, yeah. Yes. You see how different the Red Bull looks through there compared to the Mercedes. It's not hitting the ground when they're braking. They're running the right hands very differently.
Red Bull, but Fridays from Red Bull, we often hear, don't we? Things aren't great, things weren't right, and then come Saturday, then Max Verstappen is right up there in contention. Their turnaround is pretty impressive. A different floor, by the way, Verstappen to Tsunoda at 4 today.
I'm wondering how much simulator Max actually does at Red Bull.
You see, was that last week?
Okay.
Well, in between Imola and here. He does a fair visit home as well, with his own setup there.
Because the problem for him is that he's able to drive this car the way it is, and most others struggle, pretty much everyone else struggles, to drive his type of setup. So you wouldn't want someone else doing the setup work in the simulator. He's got to do it all himself, basically.
Checker flag then, and this is the final lap of the session for Max Verstappen. Race pace simulations going on. And that's the interruptions. I don't think helped in that session at all to establish a flow. Although Max was saying yesterday that as a driver you never really get a flow and a rhythm around Monaco. It's important, but because of all the interruptions, it's very tricky to try and achieve. But a couple of interruptions at the wrong time. Just the drivers are starting to get really dialed in, and then a little bit later on, first for the Isaac Hadjar crash and then for the Oscar Piastri crash. And Piastri recovered well to end up just under 4/100ths of a second behind Charles Leclerc.
So Charles and Max, the only two to be in the 1 minute 13s of the last couple of laps of that run. Everyone else in the 14s or 15s. So it's pretty quick actually on high field.
Yeah.
13s.
It's, for the teams, for strategy for Sunday, it's trying to establish a benchmark target lap time that they know will need to be quicker than last year because of the 2 pit stop rule, but not so much that it really destroys the tyres because they're going too quickly.
There's going to be a lot of radio traffic in the race, isn't it? You know, the leaders wondering what other people are doing, how many have pitted at the start of the race, and how much they need to push to build a gap. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of communication, which I love. We're going to hear it all.
Yeah. No further action. Yuki Tsunoda for that yellow flag infringement. The stewards have already had a look at it. Confidence boosting afternoon for Liam Lawson. His teammate, you know, had pace as well, and Isaac Hadji was only a couple of hundredths of a second off him. But Lawson will need that, and it's good to see as well. Now,
Front graining, isn't it, on the front?
Yeah.
Front right tyre.
well, is this the most amount of right-hand turns as well?
Twice the left, though.
Yeah, there's the left hand punishment. It's the most amount of right-hand turns of any track on the calendar, equal with Jeddah for the season. So I just wonder, Jack Dill, watching on. Just wonder why you've not got it on the left-hand side as
It
well.
might be dragging it as well. To right hand.
Yeah, I think you've got these sort of slow corners where you're just sort of sliding on the front. But as James was saying, the front tyres don't seem to be working in the right way, and that's symptomatic of it. That graining on the top surface, you're just sliding and getting these ripples. It's like a mozzarella cheese going through a grater, isn't it?
And that's why I think the Ferraris are getting the lap in. They're impressive to get the lap in early, because the front is working. They're getting the front working, whereas others are really struggling.
That was noticeable right on board, wasn't it? Sun is not quite setting yet, but it will be soon, and it'll be dipping down.
So that takes us to the end of FP2, and thank you to the Sky Sports commentary team there for taking over whilst I was out. Leclerc fastest in the second session, followed by Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadji, Fernando Alonso, Alex Albon, Kimi Antonelli, and Max Verstappen. Looking very, very quick in this session. Very, very quick indeed. Now, thank you to the people that joined in through the stream. Of course, appreciate you like always. Thank you to Soccer Callan for joining in to that one. I'm adding a bit of an extra part through to this here. I'm adding an extra part. Yuki Tsunoda, George Russell, Carl Sainz, Gabriel Bortoleto, Oliver Bannon, and a few other drivers down there at the back of the grid. FP2 Monaco is finished, but I'm going to do a bit of a video on stream here, and saves me doing it later. I'm thinking, I'm actually going to time this here. Now, I'm going to make a video on to how this session went. I'm actually just going to pop that up here so I can just time how long I actually have left. So I actually need to do this quickly here. So I'm going to do a bit of a video here. Into recapping this session. That's if I can press the clip button and then also press my phone at the same time. Let's see if I try and do it. Okay, so Friday practice has just finished, and I am currently live at the moment with all my viewers. And I'm going to recap practice, Friday practice, and how that actually went. Now, FP1, we saw a few little crashes within FP1. It turned out to be that it wasn't actually the best session for some people out there. That included Oscar Piastri. That included Oscar Piastri in FP2, who ended up in the wall in FP2, and then coincidentally ended up again in the wall. Actually ended up a few people ended up off the escape road in FP1, and then a few more people ended off at the escape road in FP1. FP2, it practically ended up as the same thing. So, how the drivers adjust for the weekend is probably going to be quite important for today. How the drivers adjust from FP2 to FP3 is going to be really important. FP3 is going to be much different track conditions. Formula 3, Formula 2, sprint qualifying, flipping yes. Sorry, sprint race. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. But at the end of FP2, we saw Leclerc top FP2, FP1, Leclerc top FP1. Now, the one thing that I noticed through FP1 and FP2 is FP1 that Leclerc was able to keep the tyres alive. They was just doing consistent laps. He was able to, every lap he was improving, which is exactly what he needed for his confidence for this weekend, especially reigning from 2020, I think it was 2024, where he took the Monaco Grand Prix out, which was his first Grand Prix win. The fastest times in FP2 were 1:11.3, followed by Lewis Hamilton, 1:11.4 in third. So the two Ferraris are very close together. It's 0.1 separating the top three, and in between them is Oscar Piastri. I think it's Lando Norris. It might be Lando Norris, who is just in between them. And Isaac Hadjar also had a crash in FP2, which was big. So it was turned, it was into the chicane, and then for Isaac Hadjar, he just clipped the rear wheel, and then Oscar Piastri has gone straight on at turn 1, and in the barrier, lost the front wing, and the red flag was caused, and Hadjar at the chicane, just locked up. It was all gone for him. And then Hadjar smacked with the wall out of turn 1. So it was he didn't actually go and end up in the barrier, but he smacked the wall at a bit of a ferocious speed. So a little bit scary for Isaac Hadjar. But practice, it's an interesting practice session there for that one for Isaac Hadjar. But it's looking good. Piastri, one less wing. There's going to be a lot of wings being taken out this weekend, which I'm expecting. I'm just genuinely expecting it. Yes, this one is going to be really, really important. FP3 is going to be really, really important for people like Isaac Hadjar. Now, the Alpines struggled in that session. The Alpines were nearly a second off each other. It's a little bit worrying for the Alpines. Is there a bit of a issue there between those two? Now, I have about a minute left in this one. So let's just go over Red Bull's performance here. Now, in FP1 and FP2, they aren't quick in Friday practice. It's not to be expected. Friday practice is nowhere for Red Bull. And then Saturday, they come out in FP3 and it's almost like they put a new engine in the car and they're extremely quick. So it's a bit of a struggle for them. In terms of RB, they're P5 and P6, 0.4 for pace, really quick for RB. Showing pace, once again, Williams as well, I have 45 seconds. Williams is also really quick, showing pace. It's looking strong. It definitely is looking strong for both RB, Williams. But Red Bull, they need to turn it on. Once again, in FP3, if they can't turn it on in FP3, we have a bit of a problem. Max Verstappen, he struggled with a bit of traffic. FP2 traffic for Max Verstappen was a bit of a problem. And it was that way for most people. Yeah, traffic became a thing in FP2. Max Verstappen really happy with the traffic, as you can probably see. But that is practice recap. Traffic, cars slow. What could possibly go wrong here in practice? Okay, so that is the Friday practice show. That is the show. Friday practice show. But once again, thank you to all the people that joined in this session. I'm just opening the chats. Here's to Soccer Callum for joining through the stream there and showing the support. But yeah, Gabriel Bortoletto and Max Verstappen recapping with each other and how they felt that the session went. So different perspectives for different drivers there, but an interesting session indeed. Of course, I'll be back from 8:30 tomorrow, but for FP3. But there's still more action. Still plenty of trials still to come. 10 past 8 I'll be back for Italiano F4 Championship. I'm actually going to have to check where the Italian F4 Championship is at. Because I've got absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. But I know there's some. The Vallelunga circuit. So Vallelunga, I'll see them for the Italian F4 Championship and back 8:30 tomorrow. And then qualifying, I think from 12:30, I've got it streamed for. So 8:30 FP3, 12:30 qualifying, and then Italian F4 race 2 from 10 past 10. And then the race from Monday afternoon, from 3:35, 2 compulsory pit stops. That is the way that my stream schedule is going to go. I'll see you guys then tomorrow morning from 8:30. But I'll be back in about a couple hours' time for the Italian F4 Championship. See you then. Bye-bye.